Pain had a schedule in this place. Every cycle, at the same time, the central correction hall filled with sound. Heavy boots, sharp commands, the dull echo of metal striking flesh. No one asked why. No one asked who deserved it. This was how order was kept on the station. The aliens believed pain taught lessons faster than words. The hall was wide and cold, built from dark metal that reflected light without warmth. Tall pillars lined the walls. Above them, observation platforms held guards and officials who watched without emotion. This was not hidden punishment. This was public. Pain was meant to be seen. In the center of the hall, a human man was forced to stand. His hands were locked behind his back with glowing restraints. His breathing was uneven. His clothes were torn, and dark stains marked the floor beneath him. His face showed bruises, old and new, layered like history. He had already fallen twice. Each time, the guards lifted him back up. "Stand," the lead guard ordered again. The human obeyed. His legs shook, but he did not speak. He did not beg. That silence confused the guards more than screams ever could. Around the hall, prisoners watched. Different species, different worlds. All of them understood one rule: do not interfere. Some looked away. Some stared without feeling. A few whispered to themselves that it was not their problem. This was correction. This was normal. The guard raised its arm. The strike landed hard. The sound echoed across the hall, loud and clear. The human's body bent forward, but he did not cry out. His jaw tightened. His eyes stayed open. Weakness deserved pain. That was the belief. The aliens believed strength came from survival, and survival came from punishment. Mercy was seen as failure, kindness as a mistake. Humans were often chosen as examples. They were smaller, softer, too emotional, easy to break. Or so everyone thought. The guard stepped closer. "You will learn," it said. The human lifted his head slightly. Blood ran from the corner of his mouth. He said nothing. That silence angered the guard. "Again," it ordered. The arm rose. And then the hall door slid open. At first, no one noticed. Doors opened all the time, but this time the sound did not fade into the background. Soft footsteps followed. Light from the corridor spilled into the hall. A human girl stepped inside. She was young, small. Her clothes were simple and clean, clearly not meant for a place like this. She held no weapon, no device, just a small bag at her side. She looked around slowly. The pillars, the guards, the watching faces. Then she saw the man. She stopped walking. The guard's arm froze in the air. This was wrong. Children did not enter correction halls. Human children never entered them. "Leave!" a guard barked from the side. The girl did not move. Her eyes stayed on the human man. She saw his injuries, his shaking hands, the way he struggled just to stay standing. Something in her face changed. Not fear, understanding. She took one step forward. The hall grew quiet, not because someone ordered it, but because no one knew what should happen next. "Get out!" the lead guard said, again, louder. The girl walked closer. The human man noticed her then. His eyes widened. "No, please, go back." She shook her head. "Why are they hurting you?" she asked. Her voice was calm, clear, not loud. The guard laughed. "Weakness requires correction," it said. "He failed to obey." The girl looked at the guard, then back at the man. "He's not weak," she said. The guard tilted its head. "He cannot stand without pain." She answered softly. "He is standing." That made some of the watching prisoners shift uncomfortably. The guard raised its arm again.
This lesson continues." The girl stepped between them. Gasps spread through the hall. She was small, fragile, standing inches away from power she could not fight. Yet she did not step aside. "If you hit him again," she said, "you prove nothing." The guard stared down at her. "Move." She did not. "Pain doesn't make strength. It only teaches fear." The guard hesitated. No one had spoken like this before. The human man tried to reach for her, but the restraint stopped him. "Please, you'll get hurt." She glanced back at him and smiled, just a little. "Someone should have said something sooner," she replied. The guard lowered his arm slowly, confused by its own action. Around the hall, systems flickered for half a second. Lights dimmed, then returned. No alarm sounded, but something deep inside the station shifted. Old rules stirred. The lead guard shook his head. "This changes nothing," it said, though his voice was less sure now. The girl met his eyes. "It changes everything," she said. The hall stayed silent. Pain had always been normal here, but for the first time it was being questioned, and the station did not know how to answer.
The silence in the hall felt heavier than the noise ever had. Guards stood frozen. Prisoners forgot to breathe. Even the machines that watched from the walls seemed to pause, as if waiting for instructions that did not come. The human girl stood between the guard and the beaten man. She did not raise her voice. She did not threaten. She simply stayed. The lead guard recovered first. "You do not belong here," it said sharply. "Leave now." The girl looked up at it. "Not until you stop." "Stop what?" the guard asked. She pointed gently toward the man. "This." The guard laughed, but the sound was uneasy. "Pain is law here. Pain creates order." The girl tilted her head slightly. "Then why does it look like fear?" That question cut deeper than any strike. Around the hall, some prisoners lifted their heads. Others stared openly now. No one looked away. The guard stepped closer to her. Its shadow covered her small frame. "You think words protect you?" it said. She did not move. "I think people use pain when they have nothing else." The guard raised its arm again. The human man cried out for the first time, not in pain, but in fear. "Please," he said, "she's just a child." The girl heard him. She felt the fear in his voice. Still, she did not step aside. "I'm not here to fight. I'm here to ask." The guard hesitated again. That hesitation spread. Two other guards shifted their stance, unsure if they should step forward or back. "Ask what?" the lead guard demanded. "Who decides weakness?" the girl asked. The guard opened its mouth, then stopped. "No one answered that before," the girl continued. "You just hit until people stop moving." The guard's arms slowly lowered. "This is not your concern," it said. She looked around the hall. "It becomes everyone's concern when pain is normal." A low murmur passed through the prisoners. The lead guard turned sharply. "Silence!" The murmur faded, but something else remained. Attention. The girl took one step closer to the man and knelt beside him. She did not touch his wounds. She simply placed her hand on the floor near his. "You don't deserve this," she said quietly. He swallowed hard. "You shouldn't be here." She met his eyes. "Neither should you." The guard stepped forward. "Enough." As it did, the lights above flickered again, longer this time. A low hum passed through the walls, felt more than heard. Several guards looked up. "What was that?" one whispered. The lead guard snapped, "Ignore it." But the systems did not. Somewhere deep inside the station, ancient code awakened. Not alarms, not warnings, permissions, restrictions. The girl stood up slowly. "You believe weakness deserves pain," she said to the guard, "but you're afraid of one question." The guard snarled, "I fear nothing." "Then answer. If pain makes strength, why are you afraid to stop? The hall felt smaller now. The guard's eyes shifted, not to her, but to the walls, to the cameras, to the glowing symbols that had begun to faintly appear and vanish on the edges of screens. It had seen those symbols before, long ago, in training files no one took seriously. Human protocols. "You should not be here," the guard said again, quieter this time. The girl nodded. "I know." She reached into her pocket. Several guards moved at once. "Don't!" one shouted. She pulled out a small object and held it openly in her palm. It was thin and metallic, dull and old. No glow, no sharp edges. "This is not a weapon. It's a reminder." The object warmed slightly. The hall screens flickered, then stabilized. Text appeared, old, formal, and unmistakable. "Witness authority, pending." A sharp intake of breath passed through the guards. "That code was erased," one said. "No," another replied. "It was never erased, just avoided." The lead guard stepped back. The human man stared at the screens, disbelief in his eyes. "What did you do?" The girl shook her head. "I didn't do anything." She looked at the guard. "You did." The restraints around the man's wrists flickered once, then unlocked. The sound echoed like thunder. The man collapsed forward, and the girl caught him before he hit the floor. Medical drones rushed in at last, moving fast, almost eager. "Release him," a voice ordered from the hall speakers. Not the guard's voice, a higher one. The guard stepped away. The girl stayed kneeling until the man was lifted on a stretcher. As he was taken away, he looked at her. "Why?" he asked weakly. She answered honestly, "Because someone had to disagree." The guard watched her as the hall slowly emptied. Its power felt thin now, stretched and fragile. "This is not over," it said. She stood and met his gaze. "No," she replied. "This is just the moment you noticed." The lights returned to normal. The hall looked the same as before, but it was not. Pain had been normal here. Now it was questioned, and once pain is questioned, it never rules the same way again.
The station felt different after the hall emptied. It was not louder, it was not damaged, it was careful. Doors slid open more slowly, guards spoke in shorter sentences, orders were repeated twice as if everyone feared making a mistake they could not take back. The human girl walked beside the medical team as they moved the injured man through the corridor. No one stopped her, no one reached for her. Guards who once blocked every step now pressed themselves against the walls to give her space. They did not know why. They only knew they should. The man lay on the stretcher, his eyes half open. His breathing was steadier now, but his mind raced. "What did you show them?" he asked quietly. The girl looked straight ahead. Something they chose to forget. They reached a medical room sealed with white light and soft humming machines. The doors closed, and the noise of the station faded. As the drones began their work, the girl stepped back. For the first time since entering the hall, her hands shook slightly. Not from fear, from weight. Deep inside the station, systems were waking that had not been touched for centuries. Not weapons, not defenses. Records. Old interstellar agreements appeared on command screens. Forgotten human signatures glowed beside alien seals from extinct empires. In the command level, alien officials gathered in growing panic. "This authority should not exist," one said. "It exists because it was never revoked," another replied. "Why would humans leave something like this behind?" No one answered right away. Then an older official spoke. "Because humans plan for after." The room fell silent. Humans entered the galactic stage late. Smaller fleets, fewer worlds, softer voices. They had lost wars. They had retreated. They had signed treaties that gave them very little.
At the time, the galaxy thought humans were weak negotiators. Now the truth was clearer. Humans did not fight to win today. They fought to decide tomorrow. Back in the medical room, the girl sat in a chair beside the man. "You shouldn't have come," he said again, softer now. She nodded. "I know." "Then why did you?" She thought for a moment. "Because pain only works when everyone agrees to accept it." He closed his eyes. "They'll watch us now." "Yes," she said. "That's the point." Outside the station, space looked empty. But it wasn't. Human ships did not arrive in lines or formations. They did not light their engines brightly or announce themselves. They appeared one by one, far apart at the edge of sensor range, watching, waiting, not threatening. That scared the station more than an attack ever could. In the command chamber, a military officer slammed its hand onto the console. "They're surrounding us." "No," the older official replied. "They're witnessing." "What's the difference?" "The difference," the official said quietly, "is that witnesses speak later." Orders came fast after that. Cancel punishments, release all human detainees, suspend correction halls. The officer hesitated. "All of them?" "Yes," the official said. "Now." Guards across the station froze when the commands reached them. Some resisted at first. Others obeyed quickly, relieved to stop. The lead guard from the hall stood alone, staring at the order flashing on its display. It remembered the girl's eyes. Calm, certain. That was what frightened it most. Back in the medical room, the man's restraints were fully removed, his wounds sealed under careful light. "You're free," a medical drone announced. The man laughed softly, then winced. "I didn't think I'd hear that here." The girl stood. "You shouldn't stay." "You either," he said. She smiled. "I will leave soon." He studied her. "What happens now?" She looked toward the ceiling as if she could see beyond it. "Now," she said, "they remember who humans are." Across the station, rumors spread faster than official messages. Humans had authority older than most empires. Humans had laws no one could ignore. Humans had never been powerless, only patient. Alien civilians whispered in corridors. Traders canceled deals. Diplomats requested emergency talks. No one wanted to be the next example. In the command chamber, the older official watched the star map. "Why didn't they use this before?" someone asked. The official answered without turning. "Because if you show power too early, everyone prepares to fight it. And now?" "Now," the official said, "it's too late to pretend it doesn't exist." The girl prepared to leave the medical room. Before she did, the man reached out and stopped her. "They believed weakness deserved pain," he said. She nodded. "And you disagreed." "Yes," she replied simply. He smiled. "That might change more than you know." She paused at the door. "It already has," she said. As she stepped into the corridor, the station lights dimmed slightly, then steadied. Not breaking, adjusting. The galaxy had learned something important that day. Humans did not shout. Humans did not rush. They waited. And when they finally spoke, the universe had no choice but to listen.
The station had always believed it was in control. Every corridor, every door, every breath of air followed rules written long ago. Pain was one of those rules. Pain kept order. Pain made people obey. But now, pain had stopped working. The change did not come with explosions or alarms. It came quietly, too quietly. In the command chamber, alien leaders gathered around a long table made of dark glass.
The room was filled with soft blue light and floating screens. Normally, the air buzzed with confidence. Now it buzzed with worry. "They have released all human detainees," one leader said, "without resistance." "That should not be possible," another replied. "But it is happening," a third said, watching data scroll past. "Guards are standing down on their own." No one spoke for a moment. Pain was supposed to be the final answer. If fear failed, pain succeeded. That was how the system survived for centuries. So why was it failing now? On the lower levels, guards stood outside empty correction halls. The rooms looked the same: cold floors, metal walls, restraints still glowing faintly. But no one was inside. Some guards felt relief. Others felt exposed. "What do we do if someone refuses now?" one guard asked quietly. Another did not answer. He did not know. In the medical wing, the human girl walked alone through a long corridor. Her steps echoed softly. She felt eyes on her, but no one stopped her. She passed alien officers who once would have blocked her path. Now they stepped aside without thinking. Not because they were ordered to, because something inside them said, "Do not interfere." She reached a wide window overlooking space. Beyond the glass, stars burned silently. Human ships were there now. Not close, not aggressive, just present. The girl stood still and watched them. In the command chamber, the image of those ships filled the screens. "They are positioning themselves," a military leader said. "This is a threat." "No," the older official replied calmly. "This is restraint." "How can you tell?" "Because if humans wanted to attack, we would already be gone." That truth settled heavily over the room. Another leader leaned forward. "Then why are they here?" The official looked at the screen. "Because they want us to choose." "Choose what?" "To stop," the official said. A new message appeared on the main display. "Human oversight requested. Witness authority active." The room went silent. "That authority has no end date," someone whispered. "No," the official replied. "It ends when trust returns." Outside the chamber, alien civilians gathered in quiet groups. They spoke in low voices. "They didn't fire," one said. "They didn't even speak," another replied. "That's worse," a third murmured. Fear had always been loud before. Now it was quiet. In the lower decks, a group of prisoners, non-human, sat together. They had watched the human beating before. They had watched the girl step forward. "She didn't fight," one said. "She didn't scream," another added. "Then how did she win?" An older prisoner answered, "She made them doubt." That doubt spread faster than pain ever had. The lead guard from the hall stood alone near a control panel. Its weapon was still locked. It had not tried to unlock it again. It remembered the girl's words, "Pain doesn't make strength." For the first time, the guard wondered if that was true. In the command chamber, a decision had to be made. "If we resist," a leader said, "we admit we depend on cruelty." "And if we accept?" another asked. "Then we change," the older official replied. That word frightened them more than war. The human girl was summoned to the chamber. When she entered, the room fell silent again. She was small compared to the space, compared to the leaders seated before her. Yet she did not feel small. "You have caused disruption," one leader said. She nodded. "Pain does that." "You have weakened our authority." She shook her head. "You gave it away." A leader stood. "What do humans want?" She answered without hesitation, "To be left alone, to be treated as equals." "And if we refuse?" She met their eyes calmly. "Then humans will continue to watch." That answer unsettled them. Watching meant memory. Memory meant consequences. Outside the station, human ships adjusted their positions slightly, not closer, not further, visible. Every sensor noticed. The girl turned to leave. "This is not over," a leader said. She paused. "No," she agreed, "but the pain is." When she left, no one stopped her. On the lower levels, correction halls powered down one by one. The lights dimmed, the restraints unlocked and went dark. The halls that once echoed with suffering fell silent. Guards removed their armor in private rooms. Some felt lighter, some felt lost. They had believed pain made them strong. Now they were unsure what made them anything at all. In space, the human ships remained, waiting, not as conquerors, as witnesses. And across the station, one truth became clear. Pain had ruled because no one challenged it. Now someone had, and once pain stops working, nothing ever works the same way.
Belief was harder to control than pain. Pain could be applied. Pain could be ordered. Belief lived inside minds, and once it cracked, it never returned to its old shape. The station felt that crack everywhere. Correction halls stayed bark. Guards no longer stood in lines. Orders were followed, but without certainty. Authority still existed, yet it felt thin, like glass ready to break. Alien leaders moved carefully now, choosing words the way one chooses steps on unstable ground. In the medical wing, the human man was finally able to walk on his own. His body still hurt, but it was a distant pain now, not the kind meant to destroy him. He stood beside a window, watching the stars. "They're still there," he said quietly. The girl stood a short distance away. "They will stay until this ends." "What does end look like?" he asked. She did not answer right away. Outside the station, the human ships did not move. They held their positions, calm and steady, like sentinels made of metal and silence. To the galaxy, they were a question with no clear answer. On nearby stations, news spread fast. Public punishments suspended, human authority recognized, ancient laws reactivated. Other species reacted differently. Some worlds quickly changed their policies, removing pain-based systems overnight. They did not want attention. Others denied everything, claimed nothing had changed. Those worlds were watched more closely. In the command chamber, alien leaders argued. "We cannot allow humans this influence," one said. "They already have it," another replied. "We just ignored it before." A third leader slammed a claw on the table. "They are rewriting our culture." "No," the older official said calmly. "They are forcing us to look at it." The screens showed distant stations sending requests for clarification. Diplomatic channels flooded with messages. Everyone wanted to know the same thing. Were humans in control now? The answer disturbed them more than yes or no. Humans did not control anything. They were allowing others to choose. That made them unpredictable. The human girl was no longer escorted through the station. She walked freely, though always watched. Wherever she went, conversations stopped. Not out of hatred, out of awareness. She visited the empty correction hall once more, the place where pain had been normal. The room felt smaller now. She stood where the man had knelt. She imagined how many had stood there before him. How many believed this was right, she whispered. No one answered. In the command chamber, the final decision was made. "All public punishment systems will be dismantled," the older official announced, effective immediately. The room exploded in reaction. "This will weaken us," one leader shouted.
"It already did," the official replied. "That is why we relied on pain." Another leader asked quietly, "And the humans? We will comply with their oversight." That word, comply, felt heavy. Not because humans demanded it, because refusing no longer felt safe. Across the station, dismantling began. Restraints were removed, rooms repurposed, guards reassigned. Some protested, most did not. They had seen the ships, they had seen the laws, they had seen what happened when belief met patience. The human man was officially released. No ceremony, no apology, just freedom. As he prepared to leave, he stopped the girl. They believed weakness deserved pain. I believed it too, for a while. She looked at him. Belief can be unlearned. He nodded slowly. You changed more than the station. She shook her head. They changed themselves. A transport ship waited for her departure. Simple, quiet. As she walked toward it, an alien civilian approached hesitantly. "Why didn't you hurt them?" the alien asked. She considered the question. "Because pain teaches nothing new." The civilian nodded, though it did not fully understand. Few did. As the girl boarded the ship, human vessels shifted position for the first time. They did not advance. They did not retreat. They acknowledged. Across nearby systems, that movement was noticed immediately. "She's leaving," observers reported. "Are they withdrawing?" others asked. "No," came the reply. "They're trusting." That frightened many worlds more than fear ever had. Trust meant responsibility. On the station, the lead guard from the hall removed its armor for the last time. It stared at its reflection in the metal wall. "We were wrong," it said to no one. The words felt strange, but honest. The station slowly returned to order, not the old one, but a fragile new version, one that relied less on pain and more on agreement. In space, the girl's transport moved away. She looked back once at the station growing smaller. This is just one place, she thought, but she knew better. Belief had shattered here, and shattered belief sends cracks far and wide. Somewhere in the galaxy, other systems would feel it soon. They believed weakness deserved pain. Now they believed something else was possible. And once belief changes, the universe never goes back.
Time did not rush after the girl left. It moved carefully. The station adjusted one small change at a time. Old systems were removed. New rules were written. Not loudly, not proudly, just enough to keep order without pain. It was harder than anyone expected. Pain had been simple. Pain had been fast. Respect was slower. Across the station, guards learned to speak before acting. Prisoners learned to answer without fear. Mistakes still happened, but they were no longer answered with strikes. The silence felt different now, not empty, thoughtful. The human man returned to human space weeks later. His body healed, but the memory stayed sharp. He was asked to report what happened. He told the truth. There was no battle, he said, no weapons, just one person who refused to accept pain as normal. Some listened, some didn't, but the story spread anyway. On distant worlds, alien leaders reviewed their own systems. Some removed punishment halls quietly. Others changed nothing and hoped no human would ever walk through their doors. They learned a new fear, not of human anger, but of human presence. The girl returned to her life. She did not give speeches. She did not stand on stages. She went back to school, back to routine,
back to being ordinary. That was intentional. Humans did not want heroes made of stone. They wanted examples made of choice. She sometimes dreamed of the hall, the cold floor, the raised arm, the moment when everything could have gone wrong. She always woke before the strike fell. On the station, the old correction hall was sealed, not destroyed, not erased, left empty, a reminder. Visitors were never taken there. No signs marked it, but everyone who worked on the station knew where it was. They avoided it, not out of fear, out of memory. Human ships still passed through nearby space. They did not linger anymore. They did not need to. Their absence spoke clearly. Across the galaxy, a saying spread among military schools and diplomatic circles. It was never written down, but it was taught carefully. Do not confuse quiet with weakness. Humans are quiet because they choose to be. On one distant world, an alien commander canceled a public punishment at the last moment. When asked why, the commander answered honestly, "I don't want to find out what happens if a human disagrees." That answer traveled farther than any fleet. Years later, the station welcomed a new generation. They had never seen the correction halls in use. They were taught that pain once ruled here, but not anymore. "Why did it stop?" a young alien asked during training. An older instructor replied, "Because someone questioned it." "Who?" "A human," the instructor said. "Just one." The student frowned. "That's all it took?" The instructor nodded slowly. "That's all it ever takes." The girl grew older. One day she stood in front of a class and spoke about history. "Strength is not loud," she told them. "Strength is knowing when not to strike." A student raised a hand. "What if others believe weakness deserves pain?" She paused, then answered. "Then disagree. Calmly, clearly, once." The lesson stayed with them. Far beyond human space, alien systems stabilized. Some grew kinder. Some grew cautious. None forgot. The galaxy adjusted its behavior around humans the way one adjusts around deep water, carefully, respectfully, aware of unseen depth. Not because humans demanded it, because humans had proven something without proving anything at all. They had shown restraint, and restraint, once understood, is terrifying. The old guard from the hall lived long enough to see peace settle into the station. It never raised its arm again. In its final years, it admitted something to a human diplomat. "We thought pain made us strong," it said. The diplomat replied gently, "It only made you loud." The guard nodded. "And you?" "We learned to be quiet," the diplomat said. In the end, the galaxy understood a simple truth. Humans do not need to dominate. Humans do not need to punish. Humans do not need to prove strength again and again. They proved it once, when a human girl stepped forward and disagreed. And because of that, weakness no longer deserved pain. Silence no longer meant fear. And the universe learned to listen when humans chose to speak. They believed weakness deserved pain until a human girl disagreed, and the galaxy never forgot.